This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, Jamie, you can work cattle in tennis shoes. Okay. Didn't know that.
I don't think I would want to do that to my tennis shoes.
Okay, so maybe some old ones. But don't do it while riding a horse. A friend of mine did that years ago, and it cost him his life. Horse got spooked and bucked him off, but his tennis shoes slid through the stirrup, and the horse struck him to death. Oh, my God.
Gosh. Yeah.
Apparently the heel of the boot keeps that from happening. Well, man, that's a bad high right there.
I don't think there's any high that's a part of that. I think that's just a bad low.
Right. It's a bad...
Where's the high part?
I don't know, but a friend of mine used to say that all the time, bad high. That's a bad high. But anyway, it's the ultimate bad high because you're done. That's it. That's all she wrote.
Just because your friend says dumb things doesn't mean you have to. I mean, I say a lot of dumb things over here. You don't repeat those.
And you don't repeat any of my dumb things, do you?
No. I think as a general rule of thumb, I try to avoid things that Chuck says. Those are kind of your things.
I spent quite a bit of time listening to Coach Tadlock and you last night. I was working in my office doing some things, and I thought he was very reflective of the series this past weekend, and you asked him specifically about the bunt call in Sunday's game, of making that decision and how that decision is made, and sounded like he went over that decision in his mind quite a bit, even after the game, to the point where his son kind of helped try to reboot him and get him back into a better mood or get him off of that tangent.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that. It sounds like he was wearing out his son last night. You know, it's funny because I'm sure over the years, you know, during his son's baseball career, they've, you know, rehashed a million times, you know, what his son, how he's played a game or whatever, what he's done. And now how things kind of turned around, now older in life and, you know, an adult late in his college years. He's kind of a sounding board for Coach Tadlock. He said he was kind of wearing him out last night, or on Sunday night, I should say, with what he should have done or could have done or whatever. And I think that's typical of a coach, and that when they lose those kind of games, like they lost on Sunday, where, you know, one decision, 5 or 6 different ones, right, could have changed the outcome of the game. You lose the game by 30 and you're probably like, man, they were just way better than us, or we were horrible tonight. But you lose it by 1, and when you had a chance to win it, and ultimately it cost you the series, and it kind of eats at you, and you're trying to figure out different ways. And as he said last night, which is kind of one of the things that I had mentioned to you yesterday, there's been different times where he would have swung away there, and he elected not to in that situation on Sunday. And I thought it was, I'm almost every time going to bunt. Okay. Again, that's my style. Coach Tadlock and I have had these conversations before. I'm more of a bunter than he is. There's no question. And I thought it was the right thing to do, but this time obviously it didn't work out. So he's going to say, well, yeah, it wasn't the right thing to do because it didn't work out. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't think the decision was wrong. But he doesn't mean he's not second guessing himself.
Right.
It.
Yeah.
You know,
because you always wonder, right?
Yeah, but as he said at the end there, you got whatever you do, you got to do it with conviction. You got to be confident in it, and I think he was confident in Damian Bravo to get down the bunt, and unfortunately, Damian didn't get it done.
Yeah, I felt at times last night. I felt for you a little bit because it's like, oh, Jamie's asking these questions because he knows these are the questions that people want, but he already knows the answers to these questions, and he already knows how Coach Tadlock's going to respond, and Jamie's responding. Coach Tadlock's responding to Jamie like Jamie responded to me. You know, it's kind of like I felt like that you were, because you're such a smart baseball guy, but sometimes you have to ask the questions of the coach to get them to say it, and sometimes they don't maybe understand that you understand. But I felt like you were asking really good questions. It was really good, don't get me wrong. It just felt like you already knew the answers to these questions in terms of how he was going to respond to some of those things.
Okay, so the trick of our job is trying to get the right thing out of the coach, right? Or the player that you're interviewing, right?
Yeah.
To be a good interviewer. I don't know that I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a great interviewer, but I'm just having done this so many years now with Coach Tadlock, I have a decent idea of what he wants to talk about and what he doesn't want to talk about, okay? So if there is a question like the Bravo thing, okay, it's just how you present it to him, right? And I think sometimes interviewers they don't understand how to set it up.
To frame it, right?
Right. I know enough that Coach Tadlock, a guy has a great day, he doesn't want to overly bloviate on how great he was. Okay. Because he knows the next day could be a bad day.
Over. Yeah.
Right? If he had heard me on the broadcast on Saturday talking about how good Coleman Ryan had been on that day, he probably would have been, I'm not angry, he knows that's my job, but at the same time, he would have been thinking himself when Sunday Coleman Ryan misses the ground ball in the first inning that cost you a run, he's thinking, well, we talk so much about him, he's got so, he's next coming to Derek Jeter, next thing you know, we're booting the ball in the first inning. And so you just have to, and I'm sure you're the same way with Coach Gerlich or whatever, when you're around them that much, you know what they want to talk about and how they want to talk about it. And so sometimes I'll be positive because that's my job to do, and he'll be negative, and we'll get done with the interview, and he'll say something to the effect of, you're kind of, you're trying to make him into this or that. And I'm like, Coach, I've got to be positive here. That's my job. And
this is your show. We're trying to help promote your program.
And he's like, let's not make him into an all-star after 2 games into his freshman year or whatever.
Well, I really enjoyed it last night, and I thought he was really good and reflective, and it's always hard when they come off of a serious loss like that as well. So
you've heard me tell a million different people this about Coach Tadlock. He is who he is. His demeanor, his personality does not change. You can tell on certain days he's stressed about winning and losing, but he's the same guy all the time.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is Tuesday, March the 25th, 2025. 3/25/25. Here's Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
1934. The first Augusta National Invitational Tournament took place. It would later be renamed the Masters.
The Masters.
Hudson Smith wins with a 20-foot birdie putt on the 17th hole, 1 stroke ahead of Craig Wood. 1972, the 34th NCAA Men's Basketball Championship took place. UCLA beats Florida 81-76. Their 6th straight title for the Bruins. Future Hall of Fame center Bill Walton. Tournament Most Outstanding Player.
MOP.
1982, Wayne Gretzky becomes the first NHLer to score 200 points in a season. 1993, en route to an NCAA title, Cheryl Swoops scores 33 points as Texas Tech Lady Raiders beat USC 87-67 for a berth into the Elite Eight.
Way to go.
Oh, by the way,
that would lead to good things.
More on her later.
Okay.
In 2013, golfer Tiger Woods returns to the world #1 ranking. It is National Pecan Day.
Yeah, I'm out.
Remember when I said we'd hear more from Cheryl today?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, former Lady Raider Cheryl Swoops.
How about that?
You meant today.
54.
54.
Also celebrating a birthday today, another Texas Tech basketball sharpshooter, Davide Moretti, turns 27. Joining them on the celebrity fold, Elton John, 78. Sarah Jessica Parker, 60. Danica Patrick, 43. Avery Johnson, 56. And Tom Glavine is 59. And on this day, 1941, Italy attacks the British fleet at Ceuta Bay in Crete using a detachable warhead to sink the British cruiser. This was the first time a manned torpedo had been employed in naval warfare, adding a new weapon to the world's Navy's arsenals. And that is This Day in Sports History.
This Day in Sports History, 6:47 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Take your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Somebody says, candied pecans are amazing. Okay. You're a fan of the pecan, right, Jamie?
I think I pretty much like all nuts.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I figured that you.
That's good because you work with Chuck and I.
Well done. Well done. Whether it be in a pie or cake, I mean, I got some banana bread today. I got some walnuts in there. That's really good. You can put it.
Almond Joy has nuts. Mounds don't. Do you like the Almond Joy?
I like the Almond Joy way more than Mounds.
The Mounds, okay.
Almond Joy is regular chocolate, and right, and Mounds is dark.
Well, it's milk chocolate and dark chocolate.
Yeah, milk chocolate and dark chocolate. I like the milk better than the dark too.
I would love them to do a dark chocolate Almond Joy.
Yeah.
That I think that would be the pinnacle of what they could do there. I don't know what you'd have to call it. Some kind of combination thing, like they
Mounds
rain in
Joy.
together. Ooh, that would be fun. Mounds of Joy, yes, because it would be Mounds of Joy.
Jamie, you probably know this. Somebody says this off the chat line, because Tarleton State and Texas Tech will play baseball today. We'll have it for you at 1:30.
Is it Tarleton State or is it Tarleton? I mean, on their website, I'm seeing both, so I feel like I can get away with both, right?
I very carefully said Tarleton this morning.
Instead of Tarleton.
I'm not going to say what I normally say.
I mean, I'm seeing both, so surely I can just say Tarleton.
I think you can say Tarleton.
Or Tarleton State. I think I can be all right either way.
Yeah.
Maybe if they have an SID, ask him, unless he threatens to ruin my life.
Yeah. What I was going to tell you that you probably already know is that former Lubbock Cooper Pirate Holt Gibson is apparently their Sunday starter.
Okay. Yeah.
According to the text line.
I did some research on him, and I saw that he was on their squad. Yep.
Okay, so
played a couple years of JUCO ball, and then he headed to Tarleton. So I didn't know he was their Sunday starter. So, which means we probably won't get to see him today.
Yeah, and Steve Urias, who spent many years at Texas Tech as an associate athletics director in our community for a long time. His son still lives here. Is the athletics director at Tarleton.
Oh, okay.
He went there from West Virginia.
All right.
And, of course, their basketball coach is the guy that used to, he was here for a year and some change. Billy Gillespie.
Still there?
He's still there.
He's still there?
He's still there. He is still there. No word if he'll be at the game today or not. I mean, and you know
he's doing better, right?
I think so. I mean,
he was pretty much a hot mess when he all left here, right?
You should text him to see if he's going to be at the game and have him on for a few innings today, because he is a big baseball fan.
There he is. Yeah, he's still there.
Billy Clyde. I remember when he gave us his phone number at a media session, like day one, and he said, "I give you this number because it's my number for life, and I give it to my players, and just here we go."
You remember how much he loved to rag on me about being a Yankees fan?
Right.
Yeah. He hated him some Yankees. And then, when was he let go? Like, what time of the year? It was end of the year, right? Okay.
Yeah, right.
So,
or he left.
Fast forward 8 months, and I'm at a Yankees-Rangers game in Arlington. You know the story. And who is standing in line in front of me? It is Coach Gillespie. And I just kind of "Hey, Coach." And he turned around and looked. And I was like, "How you doing, man?" And he's like, "Good." And then within 10 seconds, he got out of the line and left. He could not get away from me quick enough.
Oh.
He was extremely uncomfortable.
I thought you were going to...
With me being there, knowing who he was. He thought I was going to start up a conversation about, so tell me about that old exit from Texas Tech.
What he didn't know is that you had no desire to have really much of a conversation with him beyond anything other than the baseball game.
Yeah, if we want to talk Rangers and Yankees, let's go. But I had he was not. He was polite, and then he turned back around, and I wasn't going to ask him any more questions. Just said hi, shook his hand, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And he turned back around, and then 10 or 15 seconds later, he got out of the line and went somewhere else. Maybe my breath was bad or something.
I don't know. He just, like you said, I mean, he's a curious one, right? He is a curious one.
Yes.
Let's see. Hope this isn't a silly question, but I'm not familiar with name, image, likeness. Is this the reason for Tech's great basketball team? Built more on NIL, recruiting, coaching, or transfer portal? What takes the biggest piece of the pie? I think we've made it pretty clear as a program that we're going to go out and buy the best players that we can.
I like that you called it NIL.
Well, that's what one of my buddies calls it. He calls it NIL. So it's kind of gotten into my head.
I think that you have a great coach. I think you have a coach and a staff that can really recruit. I think he's an extremely personable guy who is able to recruit players. I think that all is a big factor in it. I think the facilities that you have is a big factor in it. And I think that I know that last year you were rumored to be top 5 in the country in NIL for your men's basketball program. I don't know if that's the case this year, but with what we've heard from what JT Toppin was getting, I would be shocked if you weren't somewhere close to that again.
Yeah.
So I would tell you, I think that the NIL is a huge factor in how you've been able to get these players, but I think Grant McCaslin is a great coach. I think he's proven that. I think he's also shown that he can recruit. It's definitely easier to recruit when you've got the money to spend, right? The support from the program.
And the facility, and then you have a coach that has figured out a way to pick the right players for the pieces of the puzzle.
I do get disappointed when whoever it is or whoever it is that we talk about the money being the only factor, and it takes away from giving credit to either Joey McGuire or Grant McCaslin for what they're doing recruiting-wise. They deserve credit too, okay? But the money is also a massive part of it. You can't get around that either.
6:55. More next.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. We'll have Red Raider baseball for you on the air today. 1:30, the warm-up show with 2 o'clock first pitch from Dan Law Field at Rip Griffin Park. It's going to be, I think, a really nice day today. So if you have a little opportunity to kick it early and head over to the old ballpark, they'd love to have you. Again, first pitch today at 2 o'clock, and we'll have it for you on 100.7 The Score and Double T 97.3 if you're out strolling around today.
So if Bullfighter, Bobby Hot Dogs, and everybody are all sitting together in the Double T section, should they save you and the Young Phenoms a seat?
Well, I'm traveling today.
So that's a no, is what you're saying?
No, and the Young Phenoms have school today.
You're not taking them out of school to go to a baseball game?
I'm traveling today. The Lady Raiders are headed east today to Gainesville eventually.
Eventually?
Eventually. That's the final destination today is Gainesville. So, I saw the Bullfighter went up and got a nice picture with you and Choice Woodman on Friday night. I saw that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he went up to the old broadcast booth, and
we were happy to chat with him.
Yeah,
I had a good time.
Yeah, that's good. Pay and give him pay a little attention to the Bullfighter. That's good. That's good. All right, so we got Texas Tech basketball on Thursday. The Red Raiders playing for the right to get to the Elite Eight. It's pretty special stuff. What And my understanding, Jamie, again, I'm not in the Chance McMillan camp, okay? It's just, you hear stuff as you go around town, okay? So what I'm hearing is they're still trying to get him healthy to be able to play.
Okay. That's good news. They haven't given up.
Putting him in the, I don't know what the exact terminology is, the oxygen chamber that they have at the Womble that helps you heal. Apparently has been really good for him. They had him apparently in the pool in Wichita to help him as well. I don't know the specific nature of the injury. It's sounds like it's something dealing with the ribs and abdomen and muscles and all that kind of stuff. Apparently it's painful, so it's not one of those deals you can just shoot them up and say, "Hey, go hoop it up." You can only mask the pain so much, and then kind of go back to what you and I were talking about yesterday. Is are they getting used to playing without him? And not that you couldn't use him if he was available.
Well, they would get used to playing with him if he was able to come back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it hasn't been that long, but you do have to make adjustments. And all teams are going to have whether it's little knick-knack injuries or a major injury. It's like the USC situation now, playing without Juju Watkins. That's a major part of their team. Mm-hmm. That they're going to have to now go, okay, we don't have her now. So now we have to go to plan B. Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Hyperbaric chamber. That's the proper term for that. Oxygen chamber. I really dumbed it down with the oxygen chamber.
I know what you meant. I didn't know the right term either.
Hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
It's supposed to really help you. But man, with the way that Toppin's playing right now and Elijah Hawkins is playing right now, and others, this feels like you're rolling.
And everybody that's in the Sweet 16 will say the same thing. Right?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, they've all won 2 games, right?
In a row,
at least.
Yeah.
Some of them may have won 3.
Yeah.
Although I don't think that's happening right now.
Yeah, no. Arkansas.
Well, they could have won their conference tournament.
That's true. Could have won the conference tournament. Get to here. That's a fair point.
More than just 3.
Arkansas's 22-13. They come off the win over St. John's, 75-66, and Tech trying to get into the Elite Eight again. And Kerwin Walton, I think, has really come on, and especially in the tournament, but towards the end of the season. But he has stepped up his production offensively. I mean, not taking anything away from what he was doing as part of his production and helping with the offense. It's just you're seeing a more visible aspect of that in terms of what he's doing from just putting points on the board.
And I'm sure the coaching staff is telling him, hey, without Chance, we need you to be more aggressive. Mm-hmm. You can't be as passive, and we need your shots. So I do think that he is giving you a little bit more. I think the guy that I think we're all kind of hoping that gives you even more than he has over the first 2 games of this tournament is Christian Anderson. Mm-hmm. Feels like the freshman needs to kind of get back to where he's been all season long, where he was such a consistent scorer for you. Obviously, he's moved into the starting role, so things are a little bit different, but it shouldn't be that big of a difference. But besides Anderson, I think Kevin Overton would be another one that I would say, man, you want to see step up a little bit more. Ultimately, any of those 3 guys that we just talked about, you could ask a little bit more for, right? You can't ask for much more from Williams, Toppin, and Elijah Hawkins. Yeah. I mean, they've been terrific and have been just massive for you.
Yeah, and this Red Raider team takes on this Arkansas team that knocked off the 2 seed St. John's the other day. We didn't talk about this quite a bit. I heard more comments. Like last night on my way home from work, the guy's talking about it on Double T 97.3 about the benching of R.J. Lewis for the last 456, and Patino subbing him out of the game, and the 3-point shooting that they were taking and stuff like that. And so he's being criticized for that move in that Arkansas loss. So I don't know. I don't know if that made a difference or not going down the stretch, and if you'd had to, Patino took him out for a reason. He was maybe not running the offense like he wanted him to, jacking up too many threes, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that Rick Pitino knows his team a little bit better than I do, so it'd be hard for me to be critical of that.
And one of the guys made that point, too, last night. It's like, hey, Rick Pitino's he's got 6 teams to the, 10 NCAA tournament. He's been doing this a long time, and a number of teams get to the Final Four. But that was certainly a factor. But, give Arkansas credit for playing well, too, right?
Yeah, it feels like a team that's, the last half of the season has played pretty well. So they're, one of those teams that, kind of everybody, you have to say it, but they're playing some of their better basketball to get to this point.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to look at, you have to kind of, with teams like that, because I think, wouldn't you say the Red Raiders have been pretty consistent on the men's side this year?
Yeah.
With their play?
Not been a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, and
been
that. Pretty consistent, whether it was in the Big 12 or last 5 games of the year or the last 10 games. I think relatively consistent. You could look at their numbers for conference play through to where we are now in terms of the Sweet 16. And it's like on the women's side, you got to look at the last 5 games, last 5-6 games, because before that it was a 9-game losing streak. And it's kind of the same way with the opponent that they're playing now on Thursday, Florida. It's what they've done in the last 5 games. They beat an Alabama team in the SEC tournament that should have been advancing to the Sweet 16 last night, but didn't. But Florida as well had their struggles. They were a sub-500 team that got into the tournament. Sub-500.
Yeah, not in. I'm not trying to downplay it, but you say get into the tournament, not the real tournament.
Not the NCAA tournament, the WVIT. But still, my point is this, is that sometimes there's teams, whether it's men or women, that they get hot, and that's what you have to look at is the last 5 or 6 games. And my point on the men's side for Tech is they've been a really consistent basketball team all season long.
Agreed.
And been a team that you've looked at since January and go, this team can make a long run in the tournament. And you couldn't say that about Arkansas at all. Maybe their turnaround was, like we talked about yesterday, was winning at Kentucky and getting a little bit healthier, too. Has been kind of a factor for them. All right.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3, presented today by someone not named Jamie, is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, it's time to put on our predicting hats. I'm probably beating Chuck to the punch here for something that he is going to want to talk about later in the week. However, we're going to talk about it today because we're going to be busy later in the week.
Busy, okay.
Yeah, specifically on Thursday.
Okay.
We got a big game coming up Thursday, so we're going to get this out of the way now.
Okay.
There are 6 divisions in Major League Baseball. I need 6 winners of those divisions. We will start with the National League. In the National League West, does anybody not think the Dodgers are winning that division?
I think the Dodgers will win.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Too.
So now that we got the easy money off the table, let's go through the other 5. Who wins the rest of Major League Baseball's divisions before the season starts?
I'm sticking with the Brewers in the Central, and man, do I want to do this. I'll take the Mets in the East.
Oh, wow. Was that hard?
No. I just don't think the Phillies have taken a big step back or anything. Obviously, the Mets have made some moves. They have spent some money, so I'll take them. I think the Rangers win the AL West easily by 6 or more games. Okay, I think the Central. I think it's the Guardians again, and they won it by 6 games last year, 6.5, and I expect it to be the same way this year. In the American League East, yeah, I'll take the Yankees, even without Garrett Cole.
Okay. All right. I'm with you on the West as far as the Rangers are concerned. I don't know if they'll win it by 6 games or not, but I think they've done enough. I'm a little concerned about the starting pitching, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
don't think the Astros will finish in second this year.
Okay. Do you think that's
Seattle?
Do you think it's Seattle?
Yeah.
Okay. I do think the Royals are going to give Cleveland a little bit of a run for their money. So I think they're a wild card team again, but you're probably right about Cleveland. And then just to be different, I'll take Baltimore in the East. Okay.
It was tight last year.
I'll take Baltimore in the American League East. In the National League East, I'll take Philly. I'll take I don't know. I'll take Pittsburgh in the Central, and I'll stay with the Dodgers in the West, just to be different.
Wow, that's bold.
Yeah, that
I always like the Pirates.
There's a lot of reasons to like the Pirates. They have not been a team that's going to win a lot of games, though.
I know. I
mean, finished last in the division last year, 10 games below 500.
Okay, I'll just show my knowledge right there.
I mean, it would not be.
They do have Paul Skeens, though.
That's true.
If he pitches all 162 games, they could go undefeated.
They got a shot. That's definitely true.
Okay.
Going to the National League first, I just got a feeling about the Braves this year that they can make a run at the East. And maybe that's because I have so much respect for what they've done as a franchise in the past. And I don't have faith that the Mets can keep it together. I just don't. And nothing is going to change that. For the Central, we are going to go with the Brewers. I think the Cubs have a shot if they can string some things together to make it interesting, but I think it's the Brewers' division to lose.
I think the Cubs will be worse than they were last year.
Really?
Yeah.
For the American League in the East, I am going with the Yankees, and I don't think it's going to be close. For the Central, I know the Guardians had a really good team last year, and the Twins did not. I just don't trust that it's going to stay that way. I think the Twins make the jump and get back to what I feel like is the best team in the division, and that sucks when my other team is in that division. But we know
it's sad that none of us picked the White Sox to win the division.
Well, if we were talking about the worst team in baseball, I think we'd all agree that it would be the White Sox. And in the West, I will take the Texas Rangers.
Okay.
So there you go. All 6 divisions picked before opening day.
And you can go to the Double T. You can go to doubleTSportsNetwork.com and see an article that Jeff has written about Major League Baseball and how opening day should be a national holiday. Okay. Much like some want the day after the Super Bowl to be a national.
No, you didn't read the article. I made that point specifically that I don't want the day after the Super Bowl. If the Super Bowl, I want for the event is what I'm for in the day of. Not the day after.
I know. I was getting ready to say that. I know I haven't read the entire article, but I know that you were making the case for opening day to be the national holiday, whereas some folks want the day after the Super Bowl to be the national holiday.
Because they can't handle their stuff on Sunday.
That's correct. Not because they want the Super Bowl to be on a Monday or a Friday. They
move the Super Bowl to Monday. I have no problem with taking Monday off.
Yeah.
Take it off for the event, not the day after.
I mean, it's just a situation, right? With the Super Bowl thing is that people don't want to go to work hungover on Monday.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, the game's over by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah. There's a big difference between making opening day a national holiday because you have a lot of day baseball games and just, then as opposed to the day after something just because you're hungover. There's a big difference. Yes, I agree with that. Wholeheartedly.
Hangover Monday.
I kind of got my hand slapped there.
What's the exact point I made in the article?
No, I know. I was just trying to direct folks. 7:38 this morning here on the morning drive.
Just be happy he acknowledged your article and mentioned that it's up there. Promoted it for you, Jeff. Just be happy.
Trying to help out.
He doesn't read my stuff. There's too many words. There's no pictures.
Well, he's really going to enjoy a story I put up on Thursday. So, for opening day.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of opening day, and I would second your acknowledgement there. I did notice that Jamie's got a new
you noticed just now.
Caricature. No, not just now. I noticed it yesterday when I was there. You're wearing the hat on backwards. Do you like that? Do you like that look on your article?
Whatever our little marketing people do, it's all good.
Okay,
it's all good. Josh has fun.
I thought you looked good in it.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Have you with us today as we come to you from the First United Bank studio. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. We'll have Red Raider Baseball on the air for you today. They take on Tarleton at 2 o'clock. Our coverage at 1:30 on both 100.7 The Score and on Double T 97.3. So given kind of where you are, you want to win every game that you can. So this game might be a little bit different in terms of how you approach it than years past when you've piled up a bunch of victories. Is that fair to say, in terms of maybe in years past you would have gotten a lot of position players in addition to a lot of pitchers in, and today you may be going, okay, hey, we just need to win some ball games here, so we may not be as substituting as much as, or switching out players as much as maybe you would have in the past.
Yeah, I think that it really missing out on the midweek games. There's a couple different things, right? Because first off, like what you're touching on there, Chuck, when you've got young guys or new guys, even just new guys, right? You want them to get comfortable. You want them to, to get out there and get some ABs, and you want them to get some confidence. And more times than not, the midweek games are against teams that are not right as good as what you're playing in conference play, right? So you get the less experienced guys out there, and you kind of ease them into Division I college baseball, and then at the same time you build some confidence. And I think that Coach Tadlock has worried a little bit about his team this year, about them maybe not having as much confidence, right? And that comes from not winning as much as you would like to.
You start to doubt yourself a little bit.
Yeah, and so I think that in that area, I think it hurts not having as many midweeks as well, that you've lost 2 games to, a team canceling on you, and then the one game where it got postponed. So I think that's not benefited you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and so today you kind of, it's not necessarily a must win, but it's just one you don't want to lose.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. Yeah.
I mean, we could say all these are must wins, but I mean, in
the situation that you've put yourself, you're not in the situation where you have to win every single game to get into the postseason, right? But you're 7-13. Okay, at last check, your RPI was in the high 60s, low 70s. We got so much baseball left to play. So we don't need to be worrying that much about the RPI at this point. But you are in a situation where we're all smart enough to know if you're going to get into the NCAA tournament, you've got to do some things in non-conference as well, right? And you can't handle taking losses that could drop you. I don't know what Tarleton is. I'm sure they're I actually think it's decently high for a team like Tarleton. They might be in like 120, something like that. But if you lose to them, it might drop you 5-10 spots in the RPI.
Which you really can't afford right now.
Again, there's a lot of baseball left. You probably could afford it, but you don't want to. So you need to be racking up as many wins as possible. You're not going to sweep all your Big 12 series or anything like that. You're going to lose some Big 12 series, right? So any wins that you should be able to get against teams that are teams that you feel like you should beat, you really need to take advantage of as many of those as possible.
Yeah, because up next for the Red Raiders this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, is Kansas State, and right now they lead the conference.
Yeah, and they look like a really good team. They've got 2 wins against top 25 opponents. It's a baseball team that has won both of their first 2 series. Them and Arizona, the only 2 that have won both of their first 2 series. Is that correct? Arizona State has as well. Okay, so you've got 3 teams there that have won both series, and when you look at K-State, they swept Utah, and then they took 2 of 3 last weekend in Waco against the Bears. So K-State it looks like they're one of the better teams in this conference, early on in the season, not just because what they've done in Big 12 play, but because they've played well against some good teams in neutral site contests and non-conference play. So it's going to be quite a challenge for the Red Raiders this weekend.
And Coach Tadlock was very complimentary of Kansas State yesterday, and not that you wouldn't expect him to be, but maybe in a way that you wouldn't expect him to be. He talked about the stadium and how it's the perfect size for their program, and the
Just
the things.
Killed you, didn't it?
It did. Well, I have
it's a tough place to play. It has been for the Red Raiders, even when we've been way better than them. You go up there and you can't seem to find a way to get a sweep, and you've actually lost some series where you felt like the Red Raiders were the much better team. And I think what he was speaking to yesterday is you go to some places and where they don't have awesome baseball fan support, right? Mm-hmm. And you have stadiums that are decent size or whatever, and they're empty. And it feels empty, and there's not good atmosphere. K-State didn't overbuild. Okay, yeah. It's the right size. They have a decent amount of fan support. They've spent some money. They really have on making it really question. Nice.
Yes,
and their locker room and clubhouse area and all that. They've put some money into that program, and they've got a coach who's got a decent amount of experience, and it feels like they're a program that is trending in the right direction.
And listen, it's not the easiest place to play just from a player standpoint, because it's not like it's cold. Yeah, right. Especially this time of year. It can be really nice. It can be beautiful, and it can also be 30 degrees. So, and they have. They've built a really nice volleyball facility there, and they've taken their former football indoor facility and made it a track facility, and they've built a beautiful indoor facility on the east side of their football stadium. And the line. I hate telling you this. I really do, but it looks gorgeous. It really does. They've really done a great job with their little sports complex right around their football stadium, and the basketball arena needs some work, but their basketball practice facility is nice. It's not as nice as Texas Tech's, but it's extremely nice.
I think there's concerns this weekend about the weather a little bit as well. It's definitely supposed to rain on Sunday, and so I don't know if that means that they would try to
do a doubleheader one day or what. Who knows? It just feels like every time you go to Manhattan, every time you go to Morgantown, there's weather issues. Yeah, especially this time of year where it's still gray and cold and moisture in the air and blah 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 blah. A couple things here, compliments for you, Jeff. I like Jeff. He's hilarious. J-Mac has always been my favorite. That's always nice to get compliments, because we get plenty of detractors.
He's one of my favorites on the show, too. He's definitely in my top 3.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.